Hey, what is going on guys? RvzStealth here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the must pick or ban champions for patch 7.7. So I'm going to be going over 9 champions in this patch right now that you should either be banning or picking if they are open. Now, before we get into the video though, I'm just going to talk about a few champions here that you guys might think should be on this list, but I'm not including them for the reasons I'm going to talk about. So the first one is Shaco. Now, Shaco did receive a pretty big nerf this patch that completely removed the damage that he gets from his Q. So this tank bruiser Shaco build is going to be a lot weaker this patch. I'm not too sure if people are going to go back to like AP or if they're still going to build him bruiser, but if you still build him bruiser in this patch, then he's going to be quite a bit weaker. His Q cooldown in the early game, it did get increased as well, so that's not the biggest deal, but I think the damage on his Q is definitely going to hit him quite hard in this patch. Now for Rengar and Kha'Zix, Rengar received more nerfs in this patch, and I really think we're getting to a point where I don't really know why Riot keeps nerfing Rengar. I feel like it's probably for competitive play, but right now for solo queue, his win rate is only sitting at like 45% so far in this patch, which is quite a bit weaker than say someone like an Ivern who's got a 58% win rate so far in 7.7. So unless you're like a god Rengar player, I probably wouldn't be picking him up in this patch. And then for Kha'Zix, I think he's still strong, but I don't think he's like a must pick or ban like he was a few patches ago. So the first champion that is a must pick or ban in this patch is gonna be Ivern. So Ivern, he's sitting at a 59% win rate right now in this patch. Riot has not touched Ivern in the last, I'd say like 4 or 5 patches now. In comparison, or when you compare that to like Rengar getting nerfed, Kha'Zix getting nerfed, all these other junglers like getting nerfed recently, Shaco as well, it just makes Ivern even stronger now because Ivern generally does pretty well against those dive champions like Rengar, Kha'Zix, and Shaco. So with them getting nerfed and Ivern not getting touched, he's just completely, I don't want to say broken, but he's really strong in this patch. And if you do play a good Ivern and he's not banned, then I would be looking to pick him up for sure. Next up here is going to be another jungler, and it's going to be a Moo Moo. Now you guys might be a little bit surprised about this choice here, but I will go into detail as to why a Moo Moo is a great pick in this patch. So number one, a Moo Moo got buffed this patch, and they weren't little buffs, they were actually really big buffs to a Moo Moo. Number two, other junglers have gotten nerfed recently, so that indirectly makes a Moo Moo stronger. And then number three, he's one of the actually fastest clearing junglers in the game. I think that a Moo Moo is pretty sleeper OP right now because he actually clears out the Raptor camp faster than any other jungler in the game. The reason he can do this is because whenever a Moo Moo gets auto attacked by a champion or a monster, then the cooldown on his E gets reduced by 0.5 seconds. Now when you're taking the Raptor camp, they're going to be auto attacking you, and because when you get auto attacked, your E gets reduced by 0.5 seconds, the cooldown on your E is only going to be like 1 or 2 seconds, so that's going to be spammable on that camp, and you're basically going to be able to take the camp in like 3 or 4 seconds. So you can start that as like your first camp. You're going to barely take any damage, you're going to clear it out super fast, and you're going to be ahead of the enemy jungler. Now next up here in the jungle is going to be Graves. So Graves in this patch, he did receive a little nerf to his E to where his E no longer is going to give him magic resist, but that really doesn't affect Graves much at all. There's not really any AP junglers that are being highly contested in this meta. I guess Elise has played a little bit, but we're barely seeing any Nidalee. Nidalee is like one of the weaker junglers right now, and until like AP junglers come back like a lot into the meta, then this nerf really isn't going to affect him too much. He's still a very good carry jungler champion. His ability to clear the jungle super effectively and his ability to just take over a game is one of the best for like any junglers in this patch right now. With Rengar and Kha'Zix receiving those like damage nerfs, I'm pretty sure like Rengar, his armor got reduced as well, so Rengar's ability to clear the jungle right now is just super bad. And because Graves, he takes like barely any damage in the jungle, he always stays healthy, and he's always going to be able to gank like even after he finishes a full clear, so that just allows him to have a much better impact on the game than someone like a Rengar or a Kha'Zix can. So we're gonna head down to the support role for this next picker ban here, and it's going to be Lulu. So Lulu is extremely strong right now in the support role. She just pretty much provides everything you'd want for a support champion. She's got a good laning phase. She can easily out trade the enemy AD carry in the laning phase. An EQ combo, and if you get the Thunderlords off, is gonna chunk them down to around half HP, a little bit above half HP, but if you can constantly keep trading like that and get those trades off in the laning phase, you're gonna have a very easy time. She also is one of the best peel supports in the game. Her ability to keep her AD carry alive right now in this assassin meta is super good because we're seeing a lot of Fizz being played, a lot of Talan, a lot of Zed, and if they end up diving onto your AD carry and you don't have someone like a Lulu or a Janna, then they're just gonna die right away. So a combination of Lulu just being super strong right now and her also being super strong in this meta is making her a picker ban champion in this patch. So we're gonna go over to the mid lane now, and the first picker ban champion for the mid lane is gonna be Katarina. So Katarina right now, she did get a nerf this patch to her E, but I really don't think that affects her too much. She's still a really strong pick in this patch. Her snowball potential, her early game, and her ability to just take over a game is probably the best for any mid laner. I just see so many Katarina players, if they get that one kill in the laning phase, because of her strong mobility and because of her ability to punish the enemy champions if they're slightly out of position, is just really good, and it allows her to keep getting kills over and over and just get super fed to the point where you can pretty much solo carry as Katarina. As long as you jump in during the right time in a team fight, you can basically 1v5. Your damage is insane. You have insane AoE damage. Like, it's not single target damage. If you get like a good ultimate off as Katarina, you're gonna completely single-handedly carry a team fight. So I just think her kit is really strong right now. She's got great mobility. She has a load of damage in her kit. So even though they nerfed the cooldown on her E a little bit, her damage is still there, which makes her a great pick for solo queue. Now next up here is gonna be Ahri, and I'm not too sure if Ahri is worthy of a ban in this patch, but the reason I have her in this video is because you should be picking her like most of the time if you're a decent Ahri player, because she's just a super consistent mid lane pick. You're really not gonna lose lane on Ahri. She's got a very forgiving kit in the sense that even if you get caught out as Ahri, or even if you make a little misplay in a team fight, there's just so many ways for you to make up for that. Like with your ultimate, you've got 3 flashes, or I guess you got 4 flashes in your kit if you have your normal flash up. So it's so easy for you to just get out of sticky situations. You can also use your ultimate to find picks with your charm. Your roaming potential is also really good at level 6 with Ahri, and I just think she's a champion that is very low risk, high reward though. You don't really need to be the greatest Ahri player to be successful on her. I find that even if I don't hit my charm consistently on Ahri, you're still gonna deal a load of damage. If you get ahead of her in the laning phase and you just end up using your Alt W Ignite on a squishy champion, then that alone is usually enough to kill the target. The charm a lot of the time is just overkill, so I think that her kit is just super strong for solo queue, and she's a very safe and reliant pick. And then the final mid laner for this video is going to be Talan. Now Talan also did receive a little nerf in this patch to his Q, but I just think that Talan, even though he did get a little bit of a damage nerf on that Q, he's still a great solo queue stomper champion because his roaming potential is probably the best for any mid laner. His ability to punish like these weaker early game champions or just champions that can't trade with him is super good, because if you end up hitting your W gets both procs off on the opponent and you jump in with your Q, then you're gonna chunk them to at least like a little bit below half HP. His all-in combo is just way too strong, and I think that if they want to make Talan weaker, then they've got to nerf his passive a little bit, because I think that's where most of his damage comes from, at least in the early stages of the game. Them taking off like a little bit of damage from his Q really isn't going to affect him too much, and he's still gonna have a super good laning phase. He still has that one-shot potential, which is basically uncounterable. If you're playing AD carry against Talan, then you probably know how hard it is to play against him, because he just uses his ultimate, he jumps on you with his Q, and he one-shots you. Like, there's really nothing you can do against that unless you do have a Lulu on your team. But I just think he's a really good roaming mid lane champion. He snowballs super hard as well, so he's a great solo queue champion. And then if we take a look at the top lane now for this patch, I really don't think that there's an OP top lane champion, or that there's a top laner that just completely outshines every other top laner. If I were to choose one champion for this video though, then it would have to be Fiora. So Fiora right now, her ability to just take over a game and her ability to snowball out of control is insanely good. If you're a good Fiora player and you can trade well with her in the laning phase, if you can get good W's off when the opponents try to go in on you, then you can do really well on the champion. With the fervor buffs a few patches ago, and with her item path right now being super strong, she's just a really good top lane pick. She's also one of the only top laners to where if you get ahead with the champion and you start split pushing, it's gonna take at least 3 champions a lot of the time to take you down and to kill you. You've got the heal from your ultimate, you also have super good mobility, and you have your W as well, which blocks a CC ability. So your ability to outplay the opponents is insanely good, and I've seen so many really good Fiora players just know how to split push. They end up winning like 1v3 scenarios, and they just end up completely solo carrying a game. So if you put the time into the champion, she's one of the best top laners in this patch. And then the last champion here I'm going to include in this video is going to be an AD carry champion, and it's going to be Lucian. So the main reasons to why Lucian got a lot stronger in last patch and why he's still strong in this patch is not really because of the buffs he received. Previously, I thought that Lucian really wouldn't be that great of a pick in these coming patches because the buffs really weren't that great to him. But the main reason to why Lucian is a really strong pick now is because his item path of Blade of the Ruined King, Black Cleaver, and then if you go like Rapid Fire Cannon or something on him is just super good right now. With the Blade of the Ruined King changes, those changes help Lucian out probably more than any other AD carry. His ability to spike early on in the game is super good now with that item, and Lucian, he's always been one of the best early game AD carries, but now that that item just makes his early game even stronger, it allows Lucian to completely take over a game. I've seen so many Lucian players, like if they get that one kill in the laning phase, they just constantly keep getting kills over and over again, because if you step in for a trade against Lucian and he's level 6, or if you just make a little bit of a misstep, he's gonna dash on you, he's gonna get a lot of burst off, and he's gonna follow up with his ultimate. If you don't have flash to flash away from his ultimate, then you're just gonna straight up die. So I think if you can play a good Lucian in 7.7, he is a very good AD carry pick. So that is going to be all for this video, guys. If you did enjoy, then please be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you have yet to already. So thanks for watching, have an awesome day, and I will see you in my next video.